Picayune, you hardly touched your food.
There's a moment in the regular ending of Picayune Dreams where the thing you've been for the entire game stops being anything at all. It's not a death or a bad ending. Nothing happens really. You arrive somewhere safe, somewhere that should feel like an ending earned, but the ending has a somewhat weird tone. The second half is about how there's another threat in global warming, which is, just kind of bad, but the first half of the ending is about Syl unable to be present. And I sat there confused. It didn't hit me until the next run. I don't have a name for the feeling. It's not grief, exactly. Something more like vertigo or being revealed that you've been lied to. Because I realized I had spent hours caring about someone, and the game had just informed me that someone might not be a person. I want to talk about that feeling and the question, not the plot, because I think the entire game is a machine built to produce that question, and I think almost everyone discussing this game has been pointing at the wrong things. Quick orientation, because most people watching this haven't played the game. On the surface, Picayune Dreams is a bullet heaven horde survival roguelike with bullet hell boss fights. You auto-fire through oceans of enemies, you can auto-target if you want to, you level up, and every 5 minutes the whole game stops spawning enemies and turns into a punishing one-on-one against a boss while the soundtrack ramps. It's good, the combat is good too, but after a couple hours it becomes pretty easy. I can relatively consistently flawless the bosses. Underneath that, there's a story, and the story is delivered through these floppy disks that drop the first time you beat each boss. Plus a flawless ending floppy disk, but that disk is so extremely unimportant, I'm only going to bring it up like once. Here's the shape of it as I understand it. The lore. Earth faces an immediate existential threat. The aberration. A concentrated, strange form of radiation. And the thing the aberration does, the thing that matters, is that it monkey paws. I think that's the proper term. It monkey paws the people that it affects. Pretty much, if you want to be smart, it makes you smart, but you're just a brain. It's more like the monkey paw subreddit than the actual monkey paw from the story. I'm pretty sure that's what the bosses are. Externalized insecurities that have been wished away with side effects and a health bar. To stop it, Earth decides to human wave tactic. It feeds people into the problem. Teams selected by global testing sent out in what is functionally a human wave. The hope being that enough bodies eventually equals a solution or understanding. And the team we follow isn't the elite first wave. By the time you get to them, you're well down the list. These are not the most capable people anymore. They aren't even expected to solve things. There are other teams being developed alongside yours as proof of this. These are the people you send when the most capable people are already gone. And you keep sending them because, what else is there? It's a killable global warming. If you want to appeal to the older generation, you gotta get some results. That's the world. That's the meat grinder Picayune walks into. And then there's you. You play as Syl. That's not Picayune. I could tell you the names of the other 4 others too. Syl ain't on that ship. Now, if you go looking for what people say about this game, you'll find a lot of energy spent on one kind of question. Who is Syl? You get 4 boss discs correlating to 4 squad members, excluding Picayune. And there are 4 bosses that definitely correlate to those 4 squad members. Why am I mentioning that so much? To really get it through to some specific people that Syl is not one of those bosses. Those USB sticks are not about Syl, and the bosses are not Syl. Syl and the bosses are 2 different things. The second thing is that the beach disc, the disc you get for being flawless, completely stumps everyone because it only works if you know the answer, and these people are unable to find it. I think that entire approach is a dead end. I will give you the answer. If you theorize about the game, you will feel dumb. This is a spoiler warning for if you want to find the answer yourself. There is like a 95 to 100% chance this is the answer. And the game is this whole journey that you start after you arrive at this answer, but people are unable to even understand what is happening. So let me give you my reading, which I'm saying is mine, not because there is wiggle room, but because there is no strict confirmation. And then let me tell you about the world after stepping out the door. Syl and Picayune are not one mind split into halves. They are both there, physically. You as Syl confront Picayune as a boss. You fight her, and when you win, she is furious. And what she says in that fury is the whole thesis in one line. Picayune was the backbone. The capable one. The one her friends, her family, her government, and frankly, every living person on Earth had elected to be the savior, at least from her own view. And she was crushed by this expectation. She carried the expectation of saving the world while convinced she was a fraud, that the competent person everyone saw was a costume, and that the real her underneath it couldn't do any of what she was doing. That is imposter syndrome. I am saying Picayune had imposter syndrome. The conviction that your capable self isn't really you, that there's no one home behind the confidence. And then the aberration reaches in and monkey paws it. It does this sort of weird thing it could do with a wish like that. It takes the version of herself she was sure she only pretended to be, the competent one, the one she didn't believe to be herself, and it plucks it out of her head and puts it in space. After which, it takes the Picayune that has not been changed, that has already used their wish, and makes her the avatar. That's Syl. Syl is the imposter among us from Picayune's imposter syndrome. Syl is what Picayune thought she needed to be. Cut loose, made real. And the unbearable part, the part she screams at you, is that the mask does it. She can do it. The fake succeeds. Of course she does. Syl is perfect by Picayune's stretch of the imagination. You know, like by no stretch of the imagination, but it's Picayune, so it's Picayune's stretch of the imagination. The self she dismissed as not real is the one who lives, who wins, and who wears her skin out into the dark and finishes his job and gets to come back to Earth. So forget who is Syl. The door is open. Let me ask you one of the simpler questions. Is Syl a person? Syl isn't Mary Sue, deliberately. She isn't supposed to take damage. She has knowledge she shouldn't have. She's physically perfect. Perfect even in death. Normally, Mary Sue is an insult, a writing failure. Here, it's more like a question, right? Because think about what those traits do to a subject. Sentience, the kind that matters, the kind where things feel good or bad, needs stakes. It needs the genuine possibility that something could go badly for you. That's what feeling is. Things registering as mattering because you could lose them. And Syl can't lose. She can't be damaged. She already knows everything. She floats serene through a psychedelic nightmare and cleans the whole thing up in 25 minutes while making Marvel quips at the enemies. And whatever she is, she didn't earn it. She has no formative anything. Up until 25 minutes ago, she was the bravado of someone else. A posture, plucked out and handed a body. The pain in this game is Picayune's. Syl is the version that got to skip the part where it hurts. She hasn't suffered, hasn't lost, hasn't dreaded a single thing. The lights are off behind the mask. That's the case for it, and it's pretty airtight. But the ending says different, which brings us back to that ending, the one I opened on. Syl gets back to Earth, and she dissociates because Syl was only ever the answer to an impossible demand, and the second the crisis is over, the demand that summoned her is gone. There was no Syl before someone needed her to exist. She has no life to return to. The fragment dissolves. Read as a tragedy of loss, you sorta got it backwards. Read the lines. Syl, invulnerable, perfect, frictionless Syl struggles to relate. She becomes damageable, removes the cybernetics, becomes mortal, at stake. Everything I just said she isn't, she suddenly becomes. So here's the case for the other side, just as airtight. That's not the moment she loses sentience. That's the moment she could finally have it. The lights were never gonna be on in the perfect form. They could only come on here on the far side of the dissolution, because the only way to become a real subject, a thing that can actually be hurt and therefore actually feel, is to stop being the perfect idea of yourself. Syl becomes real at the exact instant she stops being Syl. It's one of the bleakest and most beautiful ideas I've seen a video game smuggle past me. And here's the part that should bother you. Even if that's true, even if she became someone in that last moment, look at how she did it. The one instant Syl might have become real is the instant she becomes indistinguishable from everybody you already can't verify. The same person afraid of the next big bad thing, as if she didn't have the power to solve whatever issue she worries about. The game won't say that. The game doesn't let you confirm something like that. It can't. So which is it? Lights off or lights on? The honest answer is the one the game holds to. Picayune and Syl are either both there, or neither is, and it will not break the tie for you. But here's the thing. I told you my reading wasn't the point. And it isn't. This reading is likely to be the truth, and it's not like that solves much. The choice is still yours. It made me care about Syl, though, as a sympathetic protagonist, and then it took away every reason I thought I had to do that. In spite of this, I still care. That's strange, right? Because it shouldn't work. You'd think learning a character might not be real inside their own fiction would sever the attachment. Not just this is a video game character, which we all knowingly suspend when we get immersed into these games, but a second pull underneath it. This might not even be a person within the story. 2 floors drop out instead of 1. And for me, the caring survives both. Because here's what the tide was always pointing at. You never really had direct access to anyone's interior. Not your closest person, not anyone. You infer it. You watch behavior, you extend the benefit of the doubt, and you relate across a gap you fundamentally cannot close. You assume the lights are on behind everyone else's eyes, and you're almost certainly right, but you have never once verified it, and you never will. That's the oldest problem in philosophy of mind, and we live so far inside it that we've stopped being able to see it. How's the water? You know, that speech? That one speech? You ever had that played for you in high school, I think? Now, turn it around, the way the game does. Imposter syndrome is that exact gap, pointed inward. It's the failure to credit your own competent self as real. Picayune looked at the capable person everyone needed her to be and couldn't believe that was her. They were wanting a fake person, as deemed by Picayune. She experienced her own best self as a costume. Dead skin. That's the other mind's problem turned on yourself. You can't verify the lights are on behind your own competence any more than you can behind anyone else's. So it starts to feel like a fraud wearing your face. And then the game hands you that supposedly empty self, and it makes you play as the imposter. And you fight, and you strain, and you persist, and you win. And when it dissolves, you grieve. You extended everything you had to a mind you were never able to confirm was there. Which is the same move Picayune couldn't make for herself. She had the option to do so, but she couldn't. She set the bar at proof and failed it. Declared her own best self hollow because she couldn't see inside it. You set the bar at caring and cleared it without a single piece of evidence. Same gap, 2 verdicts, and the whole point is that there's no correct one. There's only the one you already chose hours ago without noticing. And you first felt bad for dying. Syl is just the limit case that makes the gap visible. Picayune dreams didn't invent the problem. Relating to something you can't prove is real isn't the strange thing the game does to you. It's the thing you do every single day, to everyone. The game just takes away the reassurance you normally get to keep and watches whether you go on caring anyway. You hopefully did. I certainly did. So I don't think the question the game leaves you with is who is Syl? Syl is a non-person at the least. 5 people go up into space and the 6th person comes back down. The game isn't about that. The question it actually leaves you with is the one it answered without telling you. Do you care about Syl?